And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the PiGosaur Monday number 13. We just wrapped up with Astrea versus Dark, and now we are here. We've made it to the quarterfinals, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Arrowhome. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing himself, currently teamless. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Protoss player, the Blue Protoss. It is Astrea. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. Again, I would typically, if we were casting like 3 months ago, I would say that Dark is favored, but nowadays, as Dark has been competing a little bit less, as Astrea has been improving that much more, I do think it's going to be a close one. I would love to see an ace match between these two players. We have seen Astrea take Dark down in recent times. Can he do it again? We'll see if he can do it again. As for the time being, we are going to be settling in. So far, I do our initial openers here, hatch first, and I should also emphasize the elephant in the room here. Welcome one and all to a bit of an older map in a way, but also a newer map as well. Welcome to Arrowhome. This is a new map in this map pool. For those that are curious, this is a new custom map pool for this tournament for the PiGosaur Mondays. The old maps have been removed. I'm referring to Abyssal Reef, I'm referring to King's Cove, and Neon Violet Square. There is a lot of controversy around those three maps as to why they were made, as to why they were introduced to the map pool, and this event has decided to get rid of them. Just straight up get rid of them and to introduce some different TLMC maps instead, to try to shed some light and give some respect and give some love to some of these maps, these finalists of TLMCs from years past that never made it to the map pool, like Arrowhome. This is a map that I've never casted on, so we'll see. We'll see how things turn out. This is a bit of a smaller map, shorter rush distance by ground. Oh, Jesus. Very short rush distance by ground is what I will say. This might even be the shortest rush distance in the entire map pool, by the way. More so than even Whispers of Gold. So I was not expecting that. It is quite a wide map, like especially like vertically, I should say. You can get a third base, a fourth base, relatively defendable as well. I do appreciate the rocks that have been placed, the high ground ramps as well, the choke points. So looks like a pretty defendable map on 4 bases, but again, rush distance by ground is something to consider. Because of that, we could even see Dark embrace something like a Queen Walk. We'll keep an eye on Dark. Dark is typically hyper aggressive in this matchup, very much so in the face of his Protoss opponent, so we'll keep an eye on Dark. Well, now we have our tech of choice. Going to be a Stargate opener by Astrea. Just gate, expand into Cybercore, into Stargate, Oracle first. From the side of Dark, a hatch gas puller to a third. He's not doing anything too crazy. He's not cutting gases earlier on. He's not delaying his gas income. I should emphasize link speed is on the way. And then he pulls out. Does pull out a gas, being as efficient as possible. Astrea, he does confirm the timing of the third. He breaks in. Now, what's interesting about this map, on the one hand, very short rush distance by ground. On the other hand, this area in the middle is very narrow. And I can see a world where if you recognize your opponent's going for an all-in, you can actually fight ahead of time, not even just here at the choke point, but even a little bit further back at the ramp, and even further back, of course, at the natural base as well, where there's another ramp. There are these certain like areas that you can fall back to where you can defend, where you can slow down and even take a greater fight as the defender. So that is something to bear in mind. Meanwhile, early Twilight Council. Ooh, early Twilight Council as the third base is being thrown down, so early tech. This does look like Blink Stalkers. If this was any other player, I would assume Glaive Adepts, but we have seen a rise in popularity of early Blink. And what this does, if it is Blink, by the way, that it is lined up in such a way where Blink finishes by the time the all-in arrives. If Dark is setting up for a 2-base all-in, which we can see so far is just droning. Ooh, and he's teching very quickly. This feels like maybe Nidus. This feels like Link Queen Nidus, so really early lair here out of Dark. Against this early tech and early aggression, Blink should finish in time, assuming that Blink is on the way. Oh, it's going to be Glaives. Never mind. Okay, it is going to be Glaive Adepts, so Astrea is going to be more aggressive than anything, and he's going to be up against Link Queen. I'm curious how these do compare to each other, these aggressive builds. Again, from the tech of Dark, ooh, he does take a 4th gas. Interesting. I'm pretty sure if you want to go for Nidus play, like Link Queen Nidus, I think you only need 3 gases. With a 4th gas geyser, I'm now suddenly leaning towards maybe a rush into Hydras or a rush into Mutas. Curious. For now, Adepts, they do get into the mineral line. One Adept goes down, the other two will recall back home, getting 2 drones. But alas, I believe Astrea, he did not see the main. He has not seen the timing of the lair, and we have confirmation, very fast Hydra Den. So Dark, he's rushing into Hydra production, and I believe this should be for a 3-base all-in. As again, this tech is so fast, which means he's going to be hitting with Hydras very quickly as well. Now, what this also means, as you can imagine, what do we have to defend? No Banelings, no Roaches. These Adepts, they can trade well. Against Ling Queen, they can trade well as long as they don't get surrounded. Like, that's a big issue here. Not to get surrounded, not to be caught out. Adepts, they go for the Queens. Alas, the Queens, they maintain themselves. Adepts do reinforce. Poking forward, a Baneling Nest is halfway done. Dark needs a little bit more time. So far, Clutch transfuses. Again, Dark maintaining himself, just buying time here, slowing down those Adepts. Lings, they attempt to surround, and the Queens, they live, just barely. I expect you soon. One Queen goes down, but here comes the surround. And Astrea, he has to get the hell out of here. He has to pull away. Stasis goes off. Decent positioning here from Astrea, but he will be overwhelmed. And Dark, he's committing to the all-in, just rallying purely Ling Hydra across the map. There's no Eva Chamber, there's no upgrades. We do have Hydra range on the way. But Dark, he should be looking to build up and then move out. And Astrea, he's in a rough position. Remember, he decided to delay his +1. He delayed his blink. He delayed his tech and he delayed his upgrades in favor of Glaive Adepts. And it wasn't really worth it. He killed like 2 drones. He got like a queen. He traded against Lings. Astrea is in a rough position. And here comes Dark. Here comes the all-in that we've been talking about. Again, Dark, he cuts workers at 55. That is less than 3-base saturation. He's getting a 4th base just for Larva. And he's going all in. And again, Astrea, he's just not set up for it. He has some force fields available. Stasis Trap gets baited out. Lings, they collapse on the sentries. And Astrea, he's being overwhelmed. Nice. Stasis still on the right-hand side. Does buy time. Does catch out the Banelings. Astrea doing the best he can with what little he has. Takes off the Banelings. They don't get into the mineral line. There's 3 shield wires behind this. Another Stasis goes off. And Astrea, he's not doing too badly here. Takes down the Ling Bane. Going for the Hydras. Going for another Warpin as well. But the Lost Stalkers are falling. And you can see Banelings. Oh, they get into the natural. They get into the natural base. GG gets called and Dark takes game number 1. GG. Again, give Dark a small map and he will all-in the hell out of you. That's going to be the case here on Erahome. Again, as we did point out, a very small map, very short rush distance by ground. And Dark did opt to go for a Hydra rush. Unfortunately, Astrea never scouted. If you remember, something that we were trying to point out is that Astrea, he never got into the main. He never saw how early the lair was. That would have been the tell. That would have been the tell that something weird was going on. If you remember, initially we were assuming that it was going to be a Ling Queen Nidus all-in, and then we saw the 4th gas, right? As we were pointing out, 3 gases for Ling Queen Nidus, a 4th gas means faster tech. From there, it was either going to be Hydras or Mutas. We saw in the end, it was a Hydra rush. With that, GG. GG, well played. Astrea, unfortunately, as he was working with incomplete information, he chose to go into Glaive Adepts, and we saw that he just didn't really do any damage with them. It set him behind, and Dark snowballed out of control. And now we're getting into game number 2. Game number 2 is going to be on another one of these newer maps. We're going to be loading into Star Child. This, I think I've casted on before, when it comes to when it was back in the TLMC. Curious. Here we go. I mean, the color palette is similar to other maps, so I might just be confusing it with another. But regardless, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, of Star Child, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, leading the series 1-0. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the American Protoss player down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is Astrea. We go, and I need to take a moment here to have a look at the map itself. As opposed to the previous map, this is a longer rush distance by ground. Bear that in mind. So if Dark were to go for an all-in, it would be less effective on Star Child. That may impact how he does approach this. There are certain all-ins that don't care about how large the map is, like Nidus-based all-ins. I mean, the length doesn't matter. You can just go across the map anyway. So we'll keep an eye on Dark as he's opening up hatch first. Meanwhile, the third base, yeah, I've either casted games on this map or I've seen games on this map, where here we have the third base, very defendable. There's of course, a ramp. There's high ground advantage here outside of the third. Rocks as well, so a push is going to be delayed. Likewise here, very narrow ramp as well, coming in between the natural and the third base, so you can defend and you can fortify this location alongside the third base. To attack the third base, if you don't go through this choke point, through this ramp, you have to go through another choke point here instead. Very narrow, actually, so it looks very defendable on 3 bases. When it comes to the fourth base is... likewise, I feel like quite secure towards the right-hand side. Once again, we have high ground, we have a point of elevation. Once again, we have a choke point here as well. It does feel like a more macro-oriented map where you can get up to 3-4 bases relatively comfortably. The 5th base can be a little bit more exposed as you expand towards your opponents, but we'll see if we can get there. So in general, a lot of rooks, a lot of choke points, and we could embrace a longer game as a result. I say could because, again, generally Dark is a very aggressive player, and even on larger maps, he will just all in. Like, he'll just all in anyway, he doesn't care. Oh, hello, as that is a 2-gate opener. Interesting. So, Astrea, he does go for an earlier second gateway. What does this mean? This means double adept aggression. This means that this lines up, 2 adepts are being chronoed as we speak. Now, this does delay the tech. It does delay the Stargate or the Twilight Council, whichever Astrea was going for, in favor of these earlier adepts to move out across the map. And we could follow this up with a 3rd and 4th adept as well. Meanwhile, we have to take a choice. Stargate here for Astrea. Adepts, they do push. And we'll see what Astrea can get done. Now, Dark, he already scouted. The Overlord does confirm the opener, so he knows that he has to respect these adepts early on. And you can see Dark, he's forced to make extra lings. If Dark skipped these lings, then he could be punished, and Astrea could just get drone kills and snowball out of control. But again, Dark, he saw what was coming. He respects it. Lings are amassing. So Dark is ready. As a reminder, 2 adepts, they can one-shot drones. And they do head into the mineral line. They get 1, they get 1, they get 2, they get almost 3. 2 drone kills, they shade away. Very nicely done. We see Dark with link speed going to try and punish the adepts. And he will find them. The shade was a little bit late. And adepts, they do get away. Whew, just barely in time. And now Astrea can set up his 3rd. Now, I assumed that Astrea was going to be going for the triangular 3rd just because of how safe it is. But no, he takes the base on the right-hand side instead. I mean, still, there is also a choke point. Still, I mean, it's still relatively well defended and well fortified. I would argue that potentially Astrea just wants a more secure 4th, and he's thinking further ahead. So he just wants that 4th base to be even safer to take. As Astrea is moving out. Behind this, Dark is droning. At this point in the last game, the lair was already on the way. The lair was already in production, so this time Dark is making more queens. He's droning. Dark is macroing. He's macroing up. Meanwhile, 4:30 lair timing. Still an early lair out of Dark. It is later than last game. That is true. It is later than previously, but still early nonetheless. So we could see Dark once again rush into lair tech, referring to either Spire play for mutas or Hydras. As I say, poke in. There you go for the queens. The first queen is going to go down. No transfuse. Second queen goes down. And the final queen as well. Nice control here by Astrea. The Oracle does get away, and the clutch transfuse. The second Oracle will escape as well. The queen is saved, and Dark defends. Now, something that I'm really curious by here, this is a larger map. So far, we only have 3 gases. No 4th gas. Are we feeling Nidus play? Building up the queen count, getting more overlords. 4th hatchery just for larva. Do you go for the Nidus worm? Are we committing? I mean, Dark is still droning, though. Is droning up. There it is. Hydras. Okay. He's scouted. He's going for the Hydrogen. He does get scouted, does get confirmed here by Astrea. He's aware of what's going on. And because there's no fourth gas geyser, again, we're kind of easing our way into a longer game state. There we go. Extra gas is now being taken. Evo chamber as well. As a reminder, last game, Dark, he never got an Evo chamber because he never needed one because he went all in. Here, he's working on upgrades, so he's gearing up towards a longer game state. Which means we could see Dark rush into an earlier hive. So we'll keep an eye on Dark. We'll see if he throws down an infestation pit. For now, just committing into Ling Hydra. And we're getting to a longer game. Let's go. Oh. As Astrea's out of position. Lings, they do hit the third. Astrea, he commits, going for the fourth. Probes are going to be going down. At least one. Just the one. Good defense out of Astrea. Hatchery takes a lot of hits. Astrea trying to poke in. And he will take down a queen. Nicely done. One queen goes down. Second queen goes down as well. Stasis trap is going to be triggered. Astrea getting some value. Behind this, going for a second Robo and a Bay, going to double, I would imagine, double Colossus production. Big Stasis. Stasis goes off once again. Astrea rotating, denying creep. Hunting down Overlords. Oh, second Revelation, doesn't quite get a tumor. Oh no, sorry, it does. As Astrea, he kites well. At least Dark did save the fourth. If the fourth went down, I mean, that could have just been game. But that's Dark, he's holding. And we spoke about the fast infestation bit. There it is, fast infestation bit, fast hive into lurker tech. So Dark, he's rushing into lurkers. We'll see if Astrea can knock him down before we can get into that lurker-based army. Still poking forward. Behind this, as we mentioned, yep, making 2 Colossus at a time. This is pretty old school. Nowadays in modern ZvP, we see a lot more Storm play, especially with the buff to Storm, with the change of the NG overcharge. But Astrea going for Colossi instead. Interesting. I mean, Colossi, they can trade well against Ling Hydra, but they can struggle against lurkers. But again, Astrea doesn't know. He doesn't know that a hive is almost done. Doesn't exactly know what's going on. There we go. Templar Archives on the way. Should be for Archon production and for Storms. Lurkers are being morphed in. Nice stasis. Very nice positioning here by Astrea, trading well against the Lings, but that is 7 lurkers in production. And Astrea, it looks like he about to confirm he does. He does spot them. Astrea, he is aware. Ooh. Gets the Overseer. Spots the Lunkers. Astrea, he respects it. Gonna be retreating. And again, these Colossus, by the time they arrive here, if it was only Ling Hydra, he can push in, but oh god, it takes massive swipes to the face. Again, the Lurkers, they have arrived in time. And Astrea, he's gonna be forced to tech. Oh god, oh no. As again, he cannot push up these ramps. He cannot push through these choke points. We spoke earlier about how defendable some of these areas are, and that is applicable in both ways. That does favor the defender. And Astrea, I don't see him pushing in. I don't see how he breaks through this. Not anytime soon. And Astrea has to make the tough choice. Does he take it to Sky Toss? So far, the answer is no. He's getting Immortals. Second Forge for greater upgrades. He's on 4-base saturation. The Storm has not yet been researched. Ooh, that is a little bit concerning. I think he means to have Storm. That's a little High Templar. So I think that is a mistake here from Astrea. There's the Fleet Beacon. He's now working towards Sky Toss, but the lack of Storm is concerning. Again, there's no reason to have all these High Templar unless you believe you have Storm. So a big oversight here from Astrea, and he might just be punished for it. Oh, there we go. Storm now begins. It's being chronoed. We need to be able to like stack chronos. So he's like, give me the Storm. Now, thankfully, Dark doesn't know. Like Dark, he will see this army and he's like, oh damn, like he's got a lot of spells available. High Templar, they're cracked. So Dark shouldn't really dive on this army. He should respect it. As Storm at this point is halfway done, Astrea getting another base. Yeah, just fake it till you make it. Just act like you have Storm. That's what you have to do. Just you're fine. You're fine. Otherwise, Dark could probably surround this. To be honest, he could probably just collapse on these armies if he would have known. Both players are maxing out. Nidus across the map. Oh, and Astrea doesn't really have much in position. Double Spire for Dark and working towards Skyzerg, working towards Corruptor Broodlord, mainly Corruptor. And the Nidus Worms are done. Again, despite how large the map is, I mean, the Nidus, they don't care about the size of the map. Do not care. Dark going for Lingbane counterattack. Lurkers, they will deny the 5th. And we spoke about it, the initial 4-base setup is secure, but the 5th base, a little bit more exposed. Astrea likewise denies the 6th of his opponent. Lingbane Rumba getting ready. Bailing's speed is not yet done, so we have to wait a couple of seconds before Dark does pull the trigger. And again, Astrea, he's missing a lot of vision. I mean, the map is large, but Astrea, he's got an observer towards the left. He's got some stasis traps. Does come across the army. Is aware. How does he respond? A bit of a late warp in. Bailey's able into the mineral line. Probes, can they get away? They're trapped. They are a little bit trapped here. Bailey's, they crash in. Yeah, there's no escaping. 14 probes go down. Oh no, he's not done. 17. The entire mineral line. The mineral line does crumble. Again, a bit of a late reaction here from Astrea. But as he bleeds out units, Sky Toss. Now, what I will emphasize is that Astrea, he has some of the best late game PvZ in the world. 100%, like straight up. He has some of the best late game PvZ if he can get there. The problem is that he's not there. On the one hand, like, this is where the soup does lie. Both armies are maxed, but Astrea's army is less efficient. It's not what it needs to be here in this given game state. He's very reliant on gateway units. And very light on Sky Toss. Oh, Astrea potentially going for the surround. Not quite. Nice storm on the Lings. Stasis on the Lurkers. Bit of an awkward position between our two players here. Astrea just keeping tabs here on the army. Ooh. He is being zoned away. Astrea now on 3 Tempests and a Mothership. You can see Astrea, he's slowly refining his army. He's getting there. The Tempests have arrived. Lurker is going to be forced back. Astrea does push forward. At the same time, Dark going for a Desperation Link counterattack here towards the 3rd, but there are plenty of cannons. And Astrea is getting value. Lurkers, big revelation. Corruptor production has begun. 10 Corruptors on the way. So he gets another Lurker. Takes down the Queens. The expansion, we have more Tempests, 2 more Stargates. Bailings, they roll into the mineral line. Oh, they don't get much done. They get 6 probes. Nice Storms. Tempests have to get the hell out of here. Astrea being proactive, does zone the army away. The Tempests, they get saved. Very nice movement by Astrea. As he's trying to shut down these Overseers before they get a Nidus. Speaking of, Nidus Worm into the main. Thankfully, Astrea, he had a Warpin available. Into the army, getting a Lurker. Getting 2 more Lurkers. And the issue that Dark is having here is just because how efficient Astrea has been trading, Dark, he doesn't really have as large of a bank. He's working on it, but he's burning through a lot of minerals, burning through his gas. Typically in this matchup, as the Prism goes down, big Pico. Spores putting in a lot of work. But typically in this matchup, the Zerg player wants a larger bank than the Protoss. Because the Protoss army is just more efficient, the Zerg player wants to trade, wants to take a fight, then remax from there to keep things going. But again, Astrea, he's been doing well for himself. Denying bases, keeping Dark on a 5 base economy, an even base count with the Protoss, which again is something you don't want to see as a Zerg. So Dark, he's in a bit of trouble. I've been focusing a lot on Astrea refining his army and getting to Skytos, and he's almost gotten there completely. Meanwhile, Dark, he is still working on his spellcasters. There we go. Finally, we have Vipers on the way. Vipers and Festra spellcasters are going to be required here to try to fight against Astrea's army. They're just now on the way. So Dark has been struggling a little bit, does have a massive concave of Corruptors, he's diving in. He goes for the dive, dives on top of the Tempest. Tempest will go down, and a nice spread of Corruptors. And is this worth it? He will kill every single Tempest, but he will trade out most of his Corruptors. Lurkers, they hold their own. Without Tempest, the Lurkers, there's no real answer to them. Astrea is going to try to push his way in. Oh, bold move, massive storm. Yeah, with the storm, with the help of the Immortals as well, he will clean up every single Lurker. Dark, his army crumbles. His army does crumble. You can see Dark trying to go for a counterattack. The Vipers, they're moving out. And Astrea can just keep pushing. He can just keep pushing. There's not much to defend. Keep going. Keep going, man. Nice feedbacks. Vipers go down. Astrea has a 40 supply lead. Oh, Baneling Rumby will distract. And Astrea, he turns back around. He's not feeling too confident. Now, again, Astrea doesn't know what we know. Astrea doesn't know that Dark is broke. Like, Dark, he cannot max out. He cannot max. He needs time. And Astrea, he's taking it slow. He's taking it safe. He's like, whew, okay, I killed the 6th base. I'm just going to calm down and rebuild my Tempest. So slow and steady here from Astrea. And again, he's still ahead. He still has a lead. And now Astrea can push forward. And technically, the win condition for Astrea, it just needs to be deny the 6th. Deny the 6th expansion. Make sure the Dark cannot take another base while Astrea takes his own. Oh, Nidus across the map. Let's go. Astrea, he doesn't notice. He's trying to push in. Nidus Storm does complete. Astrea, he responds. Turns back around, but there we go. We do have a recall. As detection is going to be required. Darky threatens a dive. Good response here by Astrea. Pulls away in time. Yeah, there's no detection back at home. And Corruptors, they're going for the mothership. He wants it. There's a slow zone. There's a cloak as well. And again, Dark, he is getting desperate. Does take down the mothership in the end. Rallying whatever he can across the map. Again, he knows he can't defend, or he knows that eventually the space is going to go down. And hopefully he forces a recall. Oh my god, brutal revelation. And GG gets called. Astrea snowballs out of control, and Astrea ties up the series 1-1. GG. We are going to the ace match. And again, as we mentioned at the start of the game, Astrea, he has some of the best late game PvZ in the world. This is where he does thrive. We've even seen Astrea take down several. That was like a month ago, maybe? Like a month ago he took down several. So this is where he wants to be. And he got there. He got there in the end. GG, well played. Unfortunately, Dark, he just wasn't able to maintain his position, wasn't able to maintain that 6th expansion. Took him a long time to get into spellcasters. He tried to rush the army with Mass Corruptor, and he wasn't quite worth it in the end. It was a really crucial moment, actually, after that fight. I'm referring to the moment that that Dark reset the Skytos army, when Astrea, he chose to counterattack and to dive on those Lurkers and to get a full surround. That was a pivotal moment with that. Broke the army, broke the base. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're going all the way to the ace match. We're going all the way to game 3. And again, I do feel like a lot of how these games are going to play out is determined by the map itself. Game 1, we had a very small map, Dark all in, and Dark won. Game 2, larger map, more defendable map, Astrea made it to the late game. Made it to the late game, then Astrea won. Here, game 3, where we drop it? What map are we going to be loading into? What kind of style is favored coming into game 3? Ooh, as game 3 is going to be on Amygdala. Interesting. Now, Amygdala, I would say, is known for its late game. I would say is known for its longer games. It has some unique features, and it's a bit of an awkward map. We'll get into it. It is much more awkward. So I'm definitely curious to see how our players do approach this. Spawning in the top right hand corner. In top right hand corner of Amygdala, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing himself. Currently, teamless, being forced into the ace match. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss from Land of the Americas. It is Astrea. Masters group match. Yes. So it was like 2 weeks ago at this point. 2 weeks ago. But again, we've seen that even before that as well. But again, just to emphasize that, again, Astrea, he has some of the best late game PvZ out there. It's where he thrives. It's what he does best. And Dark, I'm sure, is now fully aware of that. But yes, that was the game that I was thinking of, is the Master Colosseum match between Astrea and Cyril. Okay, you got it. You got it. As from here, we're going to be settling in. If Tempest had dental picks, then the borrowed lurker's a plaque. Oh no. Oh no. Take care of yourselves. As from here, we are settling in. Oh, right. And now the most important thing, of course, the map itself. We're loading into Amygdala, and Amygdala is an interesting one. Long rush distance by ground is a long rush distance, but the only reason for the long rush distance is these rocks. There are just so many rocks here in the center of the map, and they do elongate the length of the map itself and how long it takes to traverse from one end to the other. Once all these rocks get knocked down, it is easier to rotate from one end to the other, from base to base, and it can be more difficult to keep up with these rotations. But in the early to mid game, because of all these ramps, because of all these rocks and the ramps as well, it can be easy to defend and get up to a 3, 4, and 5 base economy. So I would say that the map is quite defendable early on. Then as the game opens up, as it gets longer, then it becomes more aggressive and much more difficult to defend these bases. So yeah, it is definitely a bit of a different one. It's an interesting map. So I'm curious to see how Dark would approach this. Really, my eyes are going to be on Dark coming into this game, more so than on Astrea. I'm curious to see if Dark goes for early gases, early lair, early all-in. We will see. As Dark is going to be massing up quite a bit of links early on, just to be safe. It's going to be massing up those links. 2 adepts moving out. Looks like another 2-gate. Another 2-gate opener here out of Astrea. Adepts, they get across the map, they can watch your drones. Back at home, a little chaos was forced, but Astrea, he does defend. He will deflect the initial links. Does deflect. Lurkers are cavities. The Hydra's a plaque. Oh, okay. The analogy keeps going. Let's go. As the Lings, they do get across the map, they're getting into the Adepts. Nice positioning here by Astrea, just reducing the surface area on the Adepts themselves. Oracle makes it back home, and Astrea defends. Astrea, he does defend, does get his 3rd base up and running, more Oracles on the way. And Dark has yet to invest. Once again, no early there. We just see Dark going for the Forge and the Twilight Council. This looks like +1 and Blink. So +1 and Blink out of Astrea. Standard build, standard setup here from the Protoss. Nothing crazy, nothing out of the norm, which I appreciate. No crazy Glaive Adept timing here from Astrea, not this time. And there is the fast lair. Okay, so this was around a 4:35 lair timing. With this earlier lair, this is similarly timed to the previous game, so this does look like Ling Hydra. Once again, looks like the same setup here. Evo Chamber into upgrades, most likely into +1 melee. Now, last game, this led into an early Infestation Pit, into an early Hive, into a rush into Lurker tech. I believe Dark got into Lurkers around the 8 to 9 minute mark. He was able to get his first Lurkers up and running. This time, it is an earlier Evo Chamber into +1 range, not melee. Okay, you have my attention. I'm curious if Dark is going to tech or not. I'm referring to Lurker tech. Like, this should just be Ling Hydra, but we'll see. We shall see. These gases are being taken. Astrea pushing in. Dark getting supply. Oh, almost getting supply blocked. Throwing down 5 Overlords. Just now finishing up. There's that Hydrogen, as we did mention. So once again, Ling Hydra. But he'll have an earlier +1 and an earlier +2 timing with these Hydras. Bear that in mind. So he may opt to be more aggressive. Trying to gain access to the gold. And Dark is getting a safety Roach Warren. Looking to get into Roach Hydra. Still, because they rotate towards the left-hand side. Going for the 4th, at least trying to. Dark is keeping up. We can see Astrea once again going double robo into the Bay, into Colossus production. This is the same setup, or a similar setup that Astrea had last game. Going +1 Blink Stalker into Colossi. Things, they do trigger the Stasis Trap. Nicely done. Trigger the stasis. We can see Dark cutting workers at 66. That is 3 base saturation. And Dark, he's maxing out. I say maxing out. He's massing purely Ling Hydra. And there isn't really much sign of any further tech from here. He's investing into Roach speed as well. We'll soon be able to saturate that gold. Meaning that this 3 base economy is actually going to be exceeding that. Ah, there we go. It is droning. Okay, so Dark is droning up, knocking down those rocks. Gearing up towards a longer game state. And the Colossus are on the way. And the Colossus should be able to pop in time for the fight. As Dark is just setting up, we have our tech of choice, Infestation, so Dark is not going for a 3-base all-in. He's teching towards Hive and towards Lurkers. So he is taking up. Ooh, the Oracle's ate the gold. No Spore! No Spore, no Queen's in position. Very nice damage. 7 drones go down. Astrea, he threads the needle. He gets past all the Hydras. Very nice. 7 drones at the same time. Astrea pushing in towards the left-hand side, going for the expansion. Doesn't quite get it. Forced to recall. Is punished. Stalkers go down. Dark building up back at home. Still producing more roaches. Still no Lurker Den. And he's going for his own counterattack. Yeah, he's pushing through the center. I believe Astrea does miss the army. Astrea is out of position. Side defense is going to go down. The expansion as well. He's going to try to keep up. Again, the base taking a lot of hits. Yeah, with that, the Nexus falls. Astrea is going to be stuck on 3 bases. Hydras, they try to come in from behind. But the Colossus should barely be saved. Just barely. Oh my god. Just barely. And again, a head-on fight, Astrea, he can take it, but he lost the base. He lost the base. He's going to fall further behind. Dark is going to be the first to max out. And Astrea is going to be stuck at home. He's going to be stuck defending until he can keep up in supply. Gets more drones. Now, there is a bit of a give and take here. On the one hand, Astrea is struggling to expand. That is true, and that is killing him. On the other hand, Dark is not teching. Or I should say, his tech is later than last game. Remember, last game he was rushing into Lurkers. This time he's sticking with Roach Hydra. focusing on those range upgrades. We have Vipers on the way, but it's a much more mid-tier army. So Dark might be maxed, but it's not the most efficient use of this supply. A big factor, though, for Dark is going to be the Vipers. 2 Vipers on the way. It's going to be a strong way for Dark to deal with the high-tech units. Dark, he denies mining at the center expansion. Once again. Sorry, Astrea denies mining at the center expansion. As Dark, he's barely been able to mine from the gold. Astrea backing up. He's taking up. Temple Archives on the way. That's going to be for Storm. Now we do have the Lurker Den in production for Dark, but again, it's a much later Lurker Den and much later Lurker upgrades. Dark is still maxed, though. Astrea, he doesn't know where the army is. Now he does. Again, Dark just knocking down more rocks. Expansion is going to go down, but here comes Dark. He's going to be collapsing in. Astrea pulls away in time. So far, good reaction. Yoink's coming in. He gets 1, he gets 2 Colossus. He gets 3. 3 Colossus go down. Up, he wants the Disruptor. Doesn't get it. But a good trade here from Dark. At the same time, Zelarambai does get into a mineral line. Only getting 3 drone kills. Not too many. Astrea gets away. Astrea keeping up with his ground army. What's important here is that even though Dark had a big advantage earlier, Astrea finally gets his 4th. His 4th base is up and running. Astrea, fun fact, he denies the gold, and Astrea has a higher probe count. His economy is better than that of Dark. Does have the better economy. Zealous, they do get into the main. 5 more drones going down. And Astrea, he's soon going to max out himself. And I would say he's going to max out with a more efficient army, a greater army than that of Dark. So I'm getting concerned here for our Zerg player. He's being outscaled. You can see Dark just being hyper-aggressive. He pushes in on one end, pushes in on the other as well, trying to pull Astrea apart. Meanwhile, 15 drones going down. Astrea, he's popping up. Takes out a mineral line. Where are the storms? Yeah, storms, they pop up. Oh my god, massive storms on the army. Meanwhile, Astrea, he did have his army split. He defends both locations. And again, Dark is still stuck with Roach Hydra. Not like this. As the game goes on longer, it's getting better and better for Astrea. Dark just now finishing up his Lurker upgrades, but he needs a little bit of time here to make Lurkers. Without Lurkers, I'm not sure if Dark can hold. Storm's on away. Nova grazes the Roaches. Dark trying to re-expand. He's stuck on 4 bases. What's carrying Dark right now is his bank. But again, he's stuck with Roach Hydra. Trying to push in. Sky Toss on the horizon. Here we go. The first wave of Lurkers are on the way. And they do have their upgrades. But it's still just a very tense game state. Astrea going for a counterattack. Dark is in position, at least somewhat. Lurkers have been spotted. Storm is available. Storm on the Hydras. Dark coming in for a flank, trying to catch out the army. And again, with all these rocks being knocked down, this map is so much more open, and the 5th base is going to be denied. Astrea, he's racing back. And it's going to be difficult for Astrea to expand. I mean, the gold base is going to be the clear option here, but even then, it's going to be difficult to hold on to. More Lurkers morphing in. Dark building up that Lurker count. As he builds up his Lurkers, Tempest production has begun. Astrea, he does catch the Lurkers! Oh, he finds them! And he will deny them. Most of them, at least. Yeah, 2 Lurkers make it out. That's a kill and a cancel on the hatchery. Dark coming in from behind. The stasis traps. Oh my god, catching out most of the Lurkers. Every Lurker, actually. 1 Lurker does borrow. Just the 1. And, oh, this is a brutal catch. Astrea, he might be able to take down every single Lurker here. Oh my god. Storms are brutal. Okay, at least the Lurkers in the backline will escape. I spoke too soon. Oof. Okay, 1 Nova connects. But still, very nice trades for Astrea. And now suddenly, remember earlier I said how Dark, I mean, he was stuck on 4 bases, his bank was keeping him in this game. Now Astrea, because of his greater economy, has the bigger bank. And the lurkers are left completely exposed. Lurkers are going down one after the other, and Astrea, he's doing it again. He's doing it, at the same time though, big counterattack. Oh, that's a brutal storm though. The storm is brutal. Astrea, he will reinforce. He does not turn around. Yeah, Astrea, he's confident, and he should be. He's going to clean this up. He defends at home, he attacks across the map. And Dark is being pulled apart. Again, this style of Dark, it didn't really have a lot of longevity in this game. We were emphasizing, or at least I was trying to emphasize for the most part, about how mid-tier his army was with Roach Hydra. Did eventually get into Lurkers, but he kind of stumbled his way into Lurkers. He was caught out multiple times. And Astrea is going to snowball from here. Well, he is just snowballing from here. Astrea is maxed. Dark, he's struggling to survive. And he should not be able to mine through this gold. It's not going to happen. Dark, he's stuck on a 3, less than it, like, he's stuck on a 1 base economy at this point. Dark, he's broke. He has barely any mining in the main, barely in the natural, barely here at the 3rd either. None at the gold. And the 4th was killed earlier. Fourth was killed earlier. Dark, he will be able to punish the 5th base at least. But Astrea doesn't need the 5th, to be honest. He doesn't need it. And he'll hold on to it anyway. And here comes the recall on top of the army. No detection towards the left-hand side, though. Dark doing what he can. The weather on this map is terrible. There's just storms everywhere. Ay, ay, ay. And Dark, the umbrella does nothing. It does nothing. Oh, no. As Astrea can just poke in. Remember, there's no Spire. There's no Spire, there's no Corruptors, there's no answer to the Tempest. GG gets called, and Astrea, he will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. GG, well played again. We've seen Astrea time and time again take down these big players in PvZs, especially if he's able to embrace a longer game state. Get Astrea into the mid game, get him into the late game as well in a good position, and he can take it to the best players in the world, including players like Serral and like Dark. GG. GG, well played. Dark did force the ace match, and again, Dark was able to pop off in game 1, but alas, did kind of peter out here in game 2 and game 3. With that, congratulations. Astrea is going to be the player to advance on into those semifinals, and the question becomes, do we have another series? Exclamation mark B. Exclamation mark B in the chat to have a look at the back of yourselves.